Let's be real. Most guys your age aren't making 100K in just 2 months. My guest today, his name is Diego, and he cleared $120,000 in the past 60 days, knocking doors. No degree, no experience, just a willingness to bet on himself and learn a process. So if you're stuck, broke, or tired of making $15 an hour, this episode is for you. Diego, thanks for joining us today. You were episode number 1. How does
That's
that feel?
amazing. That's fun.
Let me see here. So, all right. Tell us name, where you're from, and how did you find I Hail?
So my name's Diego. I just turned 22. Today's my birthday, actually.
Happy birthday. Let's go.
So yeah, this is the pilot episode, the birthday surprise from Alec. That's great. But yeah, I'm 22. I'm originally from Chicago. Obviously, we're out here in St. Louis doing the storm, but originally from Chicago, born and raised. Grew up in the south side of the city. And then how I found out about iHill is actually a pretty cool story. Most people find it from like Indeed or some job site, or maybe they know someone that works there, whatever the case may be. Not for me. I found out about iHill through Twitter.
Twitterati.
Twitter. And it's because I used to know Ricardo from Twitter, and I knew a lot of mutuals that he knows. So I followed Ricardo from some mutuals, followed his Twitter, thought his Twitter was pretty cool, pretty funny sometimes. So one day he just posted a Telegram group, and I was already using Telegram at the time because the Twitter space is pretty immersed with that app, especially in the space that Ricardo's in. So I joined it, joined a Telegram group called Sales is Life. He'll
Sales is
post a
life.
lot of
I
like
remember that.
sales content, whether it be like the SOP, whether it be like some random like sales stuff, Grant Cardone stuff, a lot of Jordan Belfort. And then one day, just out of the blue, he posts I Hill video. The first thing that he said was this 19-year-old made 60K in like 2 months or something like that. And I was like, huh, that's cool. Like,
Now that's nothing.
and then he explained, yeah, I guess in retrospect, that's not much now, but he explained the process a little more and how it'll work. I'm like, dude, this sounds pretty cool. Like a free repair. Like, yeah, like it makes sense. Like all this stuff made sense. And I'm like, I just hit him up. I'm like, hey, how does this all work? And he like called me one day. We were on the phone for like 30 minutes figuring out like, the logistics of it, see if it made sense for me to go out there. And I was at the time 19. So I was 19 turning 20 at that time. It was like summer of 23. Yeah, summer of 23. And from what I remember, I was a broke college kid living in an apartment, like scraping like whatever I can out of the month to just pay rent.
You were a brokey?
Oh, 100%. I still feel like one, but yeah, I was definitely a brokey. So I was a brokey in college, like, the classic, like eating ramen noodles almost every day. Not
Nice.
exactly, but, like those stereotypes was definitely the case for me. Um, didn't have much in my bank account, like scraping every month to get rent, like going to school every day. Not the most ideal situation, but at least like I had something going on, I guess. I was going to school, I guess. But did want to dive into that world of online money or at least entrepreneurship in general, just because I never saw myself really doing the college route the entire time. I was always second guessing. I only did it just because I was like, huh. It didn't seem like something I wanted to do full time. Didn't really seem like something I wanted to devote my time and energy towards. I knew there was something greater for me to do. And thanks be to God, I found iHail, and I guess everything changed from there. So I talked to Ricardo. It made sense. At the time, I even have a license or a car. So that was kind of the main thing. Not necessarily holding me back, but, having Ricardo second guess whether or not to bring me on. Because as you know, there's a lot of driving involved, canvassing through the neighborhoods,
Definitely.
driving to, knock a door, driving to a neighborhood, driving to, a parking lot or a gas station, wherever you need to go. There's a lot of driving involved. It's a very, driving hectic job. But, I needed a car. I didn't have one. So, not even a license. So, that was kind of the main thing, having Ricardo second guessing. And he talked to you about it, I'm sure. And he was like, screw it, just bring them on. And I just got a flight to Denver, had like 500 bucks in my name. It was after my sophomore year at college. I decided to drop out. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go all in on this. If it sucks, I'll go back to college. If not, I have something at least to, make money off of. So I did that. And I guess, as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
So kind of the before picture of before you came on to iHail and
hmm
started working and, certainly to where you are now, massive jump, obviously. Kind of going back to that before picture, there was uncertainty, lack of money, or a little bit directionless, it seemed like.
hmm
Was there a specific moment when you realized like, hey, I need to make a change? And what did that look like for you?
Yeah. So I guess I can give more context to that, because I grew up in Chicago, like the south side of Chicago, not like anything crazy, like as they say in pop culture, like Old Block or anywhere like that. I grew up in a small like area near Midway Airport, basically. So it's not too far off from the airport. It's like about 10-15 minutes away. So it's like a normal middle class neighborhood, honestly. Nothing. My parents weren't making crazy money. Money wasn't there wasn't anyone in the family that I knew of that was making ridiculous money or anything above six figures. And if they were, we definitely weren't really living like it. It was pretty modest. So I wouldn't say that like I struggled being poor. I wouldn't say that. I definitely didn't have days where I wouldn't eat food or anything like that. Nothing crazy. But there would be days where I would not have, electricity for a day, not have internet for a day, maybe not have access to my phone on a given day. Stuff like that. Definitely those, I'm sure maybe people listening to this can relate to some extent. But I've had issues like that before, and one main thing was with college. I actually never told anyone this, so this is gonna be a good
Oh,
good
first,
bit of
here we go.
content.
Here we go.
So, back in college, I was living in the dorms. Obviously, freshman year, I'm out of state, so I was living in the dorms, and the dorms are pretty expensive. We had the tuition covered, but my parents couldn't really afford to pay for the dormitory.
Yeah.
So, it was to the point where, like, the monthly payments were so high, they couldn't afford it, to the point where they literally, like, threatened to not have me stay there and just kick me out, or, like, evict me from being in the dorms. So, I was, like, panicking, and I was like, "Oh, fudge, what do I do?" But then that made me realize, like, "Dang, like, I really do need to make money. I do need to, like, get out of this situation, so for one, my parents don't have to deal with anything like this in the future." And so, two, when I have a family, my kids or whoever I have as offspring never has to deal with anything like this ever again, or ever. So that's kind of what motivates me every day to, continue to push and, make as much as I can. I'd say, like, the reason why where I'm at is just because of living in those conditions, like living where sometimes there's uncertainty of where, like, maybe I won't have electricity the whole time, or internet the whole time, or having to worry about X bill being paid, or, something like that, or X amount of money coming in the bank. Like, that's what made me want to continue to push so hard, and then give back to my family, and potential like my family in the future, so that I don't have to deal with anything like that ever again.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what we see like on our end, like on the recruiting side, like, the best reps, they have that like crucible moment where
Mhm.
it's like you're at that point where it's like regardless of your situation, you need to go, you're at that crossroads and you're trying to go one way or another. And it sounds like you kind of were at that point. So there was that moment where you decided, hey, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to get in my car, or in your case, you didn't have a car, but I'm going to make the commitment to go halfway across the country for this opportunity with a hail repair company, a hail restoration company, chasing storms. Was there a moment where you were like, is this real? Did you think this was real at first? Or was there a little bit of
I mean, the
skepticism there?
video kinda explained most of it,
Yeah,
so I knew it was already real. I just didn't know about this offer until that given point. Like, had I known about that till I was, like, 16 to 18, 100% I would've done it.
for sure.
Even if I, would struggle at the start, like, I knew it would pay off in the end, and I guess lo and behold, it
Yeah.
did, but, you
I
know
mean, I discovered this business at 26. So, yeah, I mean, if I had discovered it at your age, yeah, it'd be crazy. But So you took the leap of faith, you had that transformation. Let's talk numbers. So what did you clear last year? I think we 1099 you for a little bit under 200K,
Something like
and
that. I don't know the
you
exact
worked
number.
7 months out of the year
Yeah.
because you came
So from
on.
February, like I'd say the 3rd week of February to November 1st.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot. Annualized out, that's like doctor money. That's like lawyer money for sure. So,
Getting there, yeah.
yeah. um, what does it feel like at 22? I mean, yesterday you were 21, so I'll say, what does it feel like as a 21-year-old to have a five-figure week? For those who don't know, we do weekly pay here at iHail, so Diego knows what it's like to get a five-figure 1 week paycheck. What does that feel like?
I mean, it's cool. I hate to, like, brag or, like, sound
It's
cocky,
just
but, like,
cool.
it just gets to the point where it's like, "Okay, I'm expected this money now."
Oh, okay,
So it
okay.
doesn't
You're used to
it
it.
never really phased me either, even, like, once I got it. I remember, like, my first five-figure check in 23, like, it never phased me either way, because it just motivated me more to wanna get more, more
Yeah.
money. So I always look at it like, "Yeah, this is great," but, like, that money can go away just like that.
Oh,
So,
it can.
so it's just like, you gotta make more and push yourself for more. So that seeing, like, a five-figure check just motivates me to get more.
The question is, when is it gonna turn into a 20K in a week check? 30K, 40K? That's the real question. What's changed in your life since this, since kinda coming into, call it affluence? I know, you went to Dubai
Mhm.
last year, you've taken your family on cool trips, you won the Rolex, your first Rolex last year. Just talk about some of that, like, just how kinda your lifestyle has changed and, like, kind of changing you internally as well.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where, like, I don't have to look at, bills on certain things. I guess we're getting to that point. I don't have to look at the bill on certain things, knowing that I can afford it fine. Obviously, I'm not spending money like crazy. I'm not stupid with my money, or I try not to be stupid with my money. But I'd say for sure the travel aspect in the off season, like being able to just get away from everything, just travel and explore the world. That's one thing I've always wanted to do, whether I had money or not. So that's amazing. I'd say on the spiritual end, it's made me more humble in the sense that I'm still nothing before God. I thank God every day instead of praying every day. Now I pray about 10, 11 times a day throughout the given day, and I always give thanks to God for Him giving me this opportunity and giving me the lifestyle that I have. So that definitely has made me more. Um, I wouldn't say spiritual, but definitely more religious. Because I mean, granted, I already was religious growing up, anyways, but it's definitely made me more spiritual and more religious in a sense because it's made me realize that if it wasn't for this faith, I wouldn't have what I have, or I wouldn't be where I'm at. So that's definitely made me more spiritual, and I'd say more optimal in the mind and wanting to, focus on that as well. It's helped me meditate more, get more mental clarity. I'd say something on the physical end too, like attempting to eat healthier and trying to get more fit. That obviously this is a high input job. Obviously, the more output or input you get in, the more output you'll have. So it's something like where as long as you have a high output or produce a lot, it does take a toll mentally and physically. So you got to do everything you can to make sure everything's in check, everything's like clear in the mind, clear in the physical end. So that I'd say for sure this job has helped me with that as well, especially on the mental side.
What does it feel like to give back to your family?
It's fun. It's great. There's no better feeling than that. I think no Rolex, no watch, no trips. There's nothing better than that. Like, that's ultimately why I do this. There's no other reason apart from that. People see the lifestyle, they see, like, all the Instagram stories and all that, like, that's great and all, but, that's not as fulfilling as that, and that's it. That's the main reason why I push.
Amen to that, brother. Um, what was your biggest fear coming into this?
It wasn't so much like a fear as more like, "What if this doesn't work out?"
Yeah.
Obviously, like, anyone doing something new, there's always that doubt where, "What if it doesn't work out?" And I had that exact feeling to an extent, and it was mainly at the start, just because, like, obviously, when you're a rookie, maybe you're knocking doors and you're getting rejected a lot, or people are telling you they're not interested, blah, blah, blah. It gets to the point where you're like, man, like, is this really for me? Like, does this make sense? But I'm like, I'm already here. Like, I have nothing to lose, everything to gain. So why not just push it out and go from there? I would say like going into it, I never really had that much like skepticism or anything. It was more so just like that looming thought, like, what if this doesn't work? But now I don't have that doubt. So
You overcame your obstacles.
yeah.
There's something in this business that we call big check syndrome, which
Hmm.
you're well aware of as well as all the other reps. But
Hmm.
there's usually that moment where, for the guys that come on that really commit to the process and are committed to learning and getting better, like, do they get to that point where you start seeing some success? You start seeing a few of those five-figure checks come in, and then it's like, okay, well, I just made more money in the past few weeks than I did in the past 6 months or a year, right? And so then the kind of the foot comes off the gas and big check syndrome ensues. Was there ever a moment like
Yeah.
that for you where you're like, kind of feeling like, oh well, I'm over the whole door knocking thing? Like, how do you push past that difficulty as a rep?
That's a good question. So I use it's the same thing, but like I mentioned earlier, it's just pushing yourself to want to get more money so that you can do more things in the off season, give back to people that you want to give back to. I'd say the purpose at the end of the day, like why you're out there, always thinking about that purpose every day, thinking about why, you're knocking doors, what you want out of life, and using that as the prime motivating factor to actually get what you want out of, this.
Well said. Um, what does a normal day look like for you out here? What is a day? Give us a day in
Man.
the life in the great city of St. Louis.
Well, every day is a bit different for me. Obviously, I alternate. I guess for those that know, I do appointments as well. I do what's called evals. So I basically look at the vehicles, approve it for our program, schedule them in. On the days that I'm not doing that, I guess I could give you a day where I'm not doing that.
Give me the day of yeah.
So I wake up around like 6:45, 7 a.m. every day. I have it in my alarm. I wake up. First thing I do, I meditate for about 10, 15 minutes. And then I listen and read my vision board and my affirmations. Once I do that, I read 5, 6 chapters of the Bible every single day. Once I finish that, I pray. Once I finish prayer, I can start my day. Sometimes I doom scroll. Sometimes
The enemy of a good
yeah,
salesman,
for real.
doom scrolling.
Sometimes I do that. Usually I get up and, start my day, like get ready for the day, get dressed. And then once I go out, I'm either like at a gas station, maybe like loop it around, seeing if there's anyone that has hail dents. And then I'm out selling from 9 a.m. or from 10 a.m. to dark, basically. And then if there's a meeting in between that I have to go to, I'll go to that. Or if there's like a appointment I have to go to at the shop or at um, like an eval to do, I'll do that. But if there's nothing else, I'm just knocking doors all day.
That's what it takes. I mean, 120K in 2 months. I mean, that is the kind of schedule that it takes for sure. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. The reps, you're every rep is gonna get out of it exactly what you put into it, and you're, a prime example of somebody who's put the most into it as humanly possible. So, it really is impressive, honestly. Um, what kind of support and training do you get here?
Well, I mean, we have a software that tracks our recordings and gives feedback, so that's been very helpful, not just for me, but I'd say for the other sales reps too, especially the newer ones that have came on. The weekly meetings can help for sure. A lot of gems can be thrown in there. There's definitely a lot of accountability from all the peers and even from you and Ricardo. Holding everyone accountable, making sure the numbers are up, making sure everything's intact, um, mentally, physically, at the doors. The one-on-ones can be very helpful too. Every Wednesday, there's a one-on-one, whether it be with you or with Ricardo. And those can be very helpful because it gets a good idea as to where that rep is at and what you guys can do and what the company can do to make sure that they can stay intact and make sure they can either get their numbers up or continue their momentum. I like that. Um, I'd say in general, just the meetings and the structure that we have, because I definitely saw everything evolve from starting out to having to do all the stuff that I had to do originally to how everything's so streamlined and structured now, I'd say it's definitely night and day. Like, if I were to come on and we had the structure we had now, like,
You mean in the beginning?
yeah,
Yeah,
is
definitely.
what is yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, we definitely would have if we had a much more streamlined process then as we do now,
Game over.
yeah, it'd be game over. But either way, it's game over.
Um, how important is the team or the culture to your success?
I'd say it plays a role. It just drives me to wanna be the best. Even though in my mind I already know I am, it's just like, you see
For
people
now.
you
I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
But
Just
but,
kidding.
um, yeah, it's something where, I see people doing well, it's like, I always wanna one up, And it's not because, like, me just wanting to get at them, it's me, like, wanting to prove again and again and again that I am the best, knowing that,
True.
I am capable and that I have
It's
the ability to.
it's the Michael Jordan effect. He wanted to be the best season after season after season, and he was willing to do whatever it takes to get
Mhm.
there. So see something very similar in that in you. And it's fitting because you're from Chicago as well.
Exactly.
So okay, what advice would you give, or what would you say to somebody that's new, coming on here as a brand new recruit?
Like, as in,
Like what
like,
piece
for
what
sales or just
advice for
general
s for
advice?
for
Okay.
sales? Yeah, 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 obviously.
For sales, you get out what you put in, you know? It's obvious, you see it, you can knock 100 doors a day and get 5 evals or knock 10 doors a day and get nothing. It's obvious that the more you put in, the more you get out. So, go out, like, every day, it doesn't matter if you got something going on, do what you can, get as many doors as you can, get as many talk to as many people as you can, and get what you can get out of a day. Like, if you have a day where you don't get anything, whatever happens. But every day is a new day. Just continue to push on. You get out what you put in, and then once you once you know that if you feel like in your heart that you gave it everything you got on the given day, then that's how you know you had a good day. And then just continue that for the rest of the season.
It's good advice. Kind of expanding on that a little bit, what would you say to somebody who's worried that, they might not be a salesman, or maybe they're an introvert, or I'm not cut out for this. I'm a little bit scared maybe to take the risk. What would you say to someone like that?
I mean, I can relate to that too because I'm somewhat introverted. I'm not the type to like go out of my way and talk to someone really. Like, I don't really do that unless I'm like financially incentivized to do so. But I mean, just think about like every time you talk to someone, like you're making money. Like, it's kind of like how we broke it down per hour. Like, how many doors you knock
Yep.
is how much you make a door or per hour. So if you think of it like that, like every door you knock and every deal you get, it's basically like $1,000 just sitting in your face. Like, who's to say that that person wouldn't want to, you know, have the service provided to them, or who's to say that they wouldn't be interested? You never know if you don't try. So even if it's something where you're on the fence, you're never gonna go wrong with not trying. Do or do not. There is no try, as they say.
Very true. You can only fail if you don't try. Um, what's it like being an Ihalian?
Not alien. It's pretty nice. I mean, there's a lot of upsides to it. There's always a new challenge every day. There's always, a solid team chemistry with everyone. Everyone gets along. Everyone, wants to push each other and make sure everyone's intact. It's like a small tight. Even though the team is small, obviously it's going to be bigger in the given years. But since the team is small, I like that there's at least chemistry and there's at least bonding, so that there's not much tension or anything going on. Everyone seems like pretty tight knit, and that's what you want in a team. I do it. I like that the culture and the team aspect makes you want to improve because you see everyone else, in some ways doing better than you, and it just pushes you to want to do more, or at least knock more. I can say that especially for the rookies. I mean, if they see someone like doing way better than them, they're like, "Oh, how can I get to that point?" Because I know I was like that, especially with the sales reps that were doing well at that time. I was always trying to figure out what they would do, how they got to where they're at, wanting to do the same. And I'm sure that's probably the same way with, other people watching this, or even, people on the team already trying to figure out how they can get to that point too. And I think with the team aspect and the structures we have, I mean, they have everything it takes to get to that point. So that's what I like about them.
All the tools they need to be
Hmm.
successful. All right, we got to talk about the big bonus for the year. So every year we give out the Rolex to people
Hmm.
that hit their number. For this year, the number is either 1 million in gross revenue or 100 units, either or. Um, Normally, it's a Rolex that's a $15,000 max limit, but my partner Ricardo upped it a little bit and said if you bring in the 100 units before August 1st, whoever the first one to do that, you actually get an AP, Audemars Piguet, $30,000 watch. And you are at how many currently?
Like 94, 95.
94 units. So you're
Yeah.
6 units away. You got to deliver 6 units before August 1st to
Yeah.
get the AP. Are you going to get the AP?
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. You're going to get the AP.
100%.
Man, kid's going to have a $30,000 watch. That's crazy.
Probably 40 because I'll give you like 10 grand extra for a newer
Because,
one.
yeah, it was no box and papers, and Diego wants box and papers. So, yeah. Nice. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we end it?
I feel like I've said what I needed to say.
No. Well, Diego, thank you so much for coming on the episode 1 of the Wolf podcast on your birthday. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Appreciate it,
All
brother.
right. Have a good one.
You too.